My parents plan to sell my country house to buy my sister an apartment, Mom said. She's pregnant now, and she needs her own place. I secretly sold it. 2 weeks later, Dad broke in there, not knowing the buyer was. The day my parents tried to steal my home, something shattered inside me. They thought they could just take the sanctuary my grandmother left me to give it to my sister, but they were about to learn I wasn't the compliant daughter they remembered. At 35, I never imagined my own family would put me through something so utterly devastating. Let me take you back. My name is Amanda Peterson, and that country house wasn't just a property. It was my heart, my soul, my only true refuge. For me, it held the echoes of my beloved grandmother, Eliza. She was my rock, you see. While my parents doted on my younger sister, Cassandra, Grandma Eliza showed me what unconditional love truly meant. Every summer, from age 8 to 17, I lived for those 3 months at her farmhouse, tending the garden, baking her legendary apple pies, and listening to stories on that wraparound porch. She taught me to stand up for myself. Amanda, she'd say, her weathered hands clasping mine. Never let anyone take advantage of your kind heart, not even family, especially family. I thought it was just general wisdom then. Oh, how those words would come back to haunt me. The house itself was pure charm. A 3-bedroom farmhouse built in the 1940s, 90 minutes from the city where I worked as a real estate agent. Solid oak beams, hardwood floors that creaked with character, windows that embraced the morning light. It had an apple orchard, a vegetable garden, and a detached garage Grandma had turned into her painting studio. When she passed away 5 years ago at 88, the grief was a physical ache. Then the surprise, she'd left the house specifically to me. My dearest Amanda, her letter read. This house has stories in its walls, and I know you will honor them and add your own chapters. This is not just a piece of property, it is a piece of who you are. My parents seemed supportive at first. They had their own suburban life, no interest in what they called the old country place. Cassandra, always the golden child at 28, was too city-focused to care. But for 5 years, I poured everything into that house, my heart, my soul, and a significant chunk of my savings. I updated the plumbing, restored the floors, replanted the garden with Grandma's heirloom seeds. Every weekend, I'd drive out, returning Sunday night, my spirit recharged. The contrast between Cassandra and me was stark. I built a stable career, becoming a top seller. She bounced between jobs and relationships. My parents made excuses for her free spirit, while my hard work was simply expected. Your sister is sensitive, my mother would say when Cassandra quit another job. My 60-hour work weeks met with brief nods. Despite it all, I maintained a cordial family relationship, though at Sunday dinners, I often felt like an observer in Cassandra's latest drama. Everything changed 3 months ago. Cassandra announced her pregnancy. Her boyfriend, Tyler, looked uncomfortable, but my parents were ecstatic. This changes everything, my mother declared. You two need a proper place for this baby. I offered genuine congratulations, but privately I worried. And those worries proved justified. The couple's living situation became the constant topic. They can't stay in that tiny apartment with a baby, my mother fretted. Rent is so expensive, my father added, looking pointedly at me. I braced myself for the inevitable financial ask. I'd loaned Cassandra money countless times, never repaid. I figured I'd contribute to my niece or nephew. What I never anticipated was the sheer scale of their expectation. It was 2 months after Cassandra's announcement, during one of those Sunday dinners, that I stumbled upon their plan. I'd excused myself to the bathroom. Walking back, I heard my father's voice from the kitchen. I think we should list the country property next month. Spring is the best time to sell. I froze, my blood turning to ice. My first thought was he meant one of his investment properties. Then my mother's hushed voice. Do you think Amanda will fight us on it? The mention of my name sent a chill deep into my bones. My house. The house legally bequeathed to me? The one I'd poured my life into for 5 years? She has to understand, my father continued. Cassandra is starting a family. She needs her own place. Amanda doesn't even live there full time. It's just sitting empty. My hands started to tremble as the horrifying reality sank in. They were planning to sell my inheritance, my sanctuary, without even talking to me, as if it were a communal family asset. We should bring it up after dessert, my mother suggested. Emphasize how important this is for the baby. Amanda has always been reasonable. By reasonable, I knew she meant compliant. The daughter who never caused trouble, who always sacrificed for her sister. I must have made a sound, because the conversation abruptly stopped. Taking a deep breath, I walked into the kitchen, forcing a neutral expression. Need any help with dessert, Mom? My voice was surprisingly steady despite the storm raging inside. No, dear, just getting coffee ready. I returned to the dining room. Cassandra looked up, her smile now seeming calculating. Everything okay, sis? You look weird. Just tired from work, I lied, taking my seat. When my parents returned, I waited. A part of me hoped I'd misheard. Then my father cleared his throat. Amanda, we wanted to discuss something important. It's about your grandmother's house. My house, I corrected, my voice quiet, but firm. He blinked, thrown off. Yes, well, technically, but we've been thinking about Cassandra's situation. My mother jumped in, her voice syrupy sweet. Your sister is going to have a baby, Amanda. They need space, a proper home to raise a child. And, I prompted, a coldness settling in my chest. And we think the most sensible solution would be to sell the country house, my father stated plainly. It would provide enough money for a down payment on a nice apartment for Cassandra and Tyler. Something with 2 bedrooms in a good school district. I just stared, waiting for them to acknowledge the sheer audacity of it. Nothing. That house belongs to me, I said slowly. Grandma left it to me. I've been paying the taxes, the insurance, the maintenance. I've put thousands of dollars into renovations. No one is saying you haven't done a lovely job with it, my mother rushed to add. But be practical, Amanda. You only go there on weekends. Your sister needs a home every day. So buy her one. I shot back, my voice hardening. Why does it have to be my house that gets sold? Because we don't have that kind of money just sitting around. My father snapped, his facade cracking. This is about family, helping family. Your sister is pregnant, my mother added, as if I could possibly forget. Don't you care about your niece or nephew growing up in a good environment? I turned to Cassandra, who had been unusually quiet. She met my gaze with a mix of entitlement and challenge. I already started thinking about how I'd set up the nursery, she said, a casual cruelty in her tone. The second bedroom gets such good morning light. It would be perfect. The casual way she spoke about my space, the room where I kept Grandma's quilts and my own painting supplies, ignited something fierce within me. They had planned this, discussed it, decided, all without a single word to me. Let me get this straight, I said, setting my coffee cup down with deliberate care to hide my trembling hands. You want me to give up the house my grandmother specifically left to me, that I have lovingly maintained for 5 years, so you can sell it and give the money to Cassandra for an apartment? Not give up, my father corrected. You would get a portion of the proceeds too, of course. How generous, I replied, the bitterness dripping from my voice. And did anyone consider asking me before making these plans? Or did you just assume I would go along with it as always? Amanda, my mother sighed. Don't be difficult. This is what families do. They support each other. Support goes both ways, Mom, I said, finally truly standing my ground. When is anyone in this family supported? What I want, what I need. A tense silence fell. Open conflict was unheard of, especially when Cassandra wanted something. Tyler, looking deeply uncomfortable, finally spoke. Maybe we should discuss this another time. There is nothing to discuss, I said, standing up. The house is mine. I will not be selling it. Not now. Not ever. Amanda, my mother gasped. Sit down. We are not finished. I am, I replied, grabbing my purse. Thank you for dinner. As I headed for the door, my father called out. Think about it. Family has to come first. I paused, hand on the doorknob. That, I said, is exactly what I am doing. The slam of the door behind me punctuated my exit. A sound completely out of character for the accommodating daughter I'd always been. Sitting in my car, gripping the wheel, I realized they had fully expected me to agree. After all, I always had. But not this time. The next weekend, I drove to the country house, a heaviness in my heart. This place, always my sanctuary, now felt tainted by betrayal. I walked through each room, lingering on the details I loved. The restored 1952 mint green refrigerator, the stone fireplace where Grandma and I played cards, the hand-carved bed frame grandfather made. On the porch, in Grandma's rocking chair, I tried to imagine it belonging to strangers. The thought was physically painful. This house was memories, connection, Grandma's enduring presence. My phone had been buzzing constantly since Sunday. I'd responded minimally, just enough to say I was fine but needed space. Now my mother called again. "Amanda," she began, without preamble. "I wish you would stop this sulking. We are trying to have a serious family discussion." "There is nothing to discuss," I replied, my voice steady. "This is my house. I am not selling it." "Your sister is in tears," she countered, wielding the weapon that had always worked before. But this time, a surprising lack of guilt washed over me. "I'm sorry to hear that, but it doesn't change my decision. Your father has already spoken to a realtor friend. He says we could list next week." The casual way she dropped this sent a fresh wave of shock through me. Without my permission. "Mom, I am the legal owner. Only I can sell this house." "Don't be technical, Amanda," she sighed. "This is a family matter." "No," I said. "It's a legal matter, and I'm telling you clearly, I will not be selling my house." She hung up in frustration. But that was just the beginning. The calls and texts continued. My father sent links to apartments. My sister sent photos of baby furniture for the upstairs bedroom. Then the most shocking message. "We have arranged an open house for next Saturday. Please make sure the place is tidy." I called him immediately. "You did what?" "Now Amanda," he began, placating. "We just thought we'd get the ball rolling." "Cancel it," I said firmly. "You have no right to show my house to anyone." "We still have the spare key," he continued, as if I hadn't spoken. "So don't worry about being there. We'll handle everything." That was the final straw. They'd been accessing my property without my knowledge. This wasn't just entitlement, it was nearing theft. I ended the call and dialed my friend Stephanie. "They did what?" she exclaimed. "Amanda, that's not just inconsiderate, it's illegal." "I know," I sighed. "But they don't seem to care about that minor detail." "What are you going to do?" I stared out at the darkening sky. "I don't know yet," I told her. "But I'm not going to let them take this from me." "Good," Stephanie said firmly. "It's about time you stood up to them. They've been taking advantage of your good nature for years." After we hung up, I sat for a long time thinking. Change the locks? Temporary. Confront them again? Useless. Lawyers? The thought of legal action against my own family sickened me. As I drove back to the city that night, an idea began to form. It was extreme, maybe a little vindictive, but the more I thought about it, the more it felt like my only option to take control. I was a real estate agent. If anyone was going to sell my house, it would be me, and it would be on my terms. The decision settled in my mind like a weight being lifted. By the time I reached my apartment, I knew exactly what I was going to do. My parents wanted to sell my house for Cassandra? Fine. But they were about to learn a harsh lesson about making assumptions about my compliance. By the way, if you're still with me on this roller coaster of family drama, hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss what happens next. Monday morning, I went straight to my broker. "Darren," I said, "I want to list my own property, and I need it to happen fast." The next 2 weeks were a blur. As a top agent, I knew how to position the property for a quick sale. I called in favors. By Wednesday, professional photos showcasing the farmhouse's charm were ready. I crafted the listing myself. Historic farmhouse with modern amenities set on 2 acres. Updated kitchen and bathrooms, new roof, completely rewired. Perfect weekend retreat or year-round residence for those seeking peace without sacrificing comfort. I deliberately priced it slightly below market value to generate immediate interest. Darren trusted my judgment. "Any special requests for showing protocols?" he asked. Yes, I replied. No public open houses, qualified buyers only with proof of funds, and I want to personally approve every showing. This was crucial to keep my family from finding out. I was vague with them during this time. When my father texted, asking if I'd come to my senses, I replied, I'm thinking things through. When my mother called about her realtor friend wanting to take measurements, I said I had a client at the house that day. Not a lie. The listing went live Friday morning, marked as private. By noon, 6 showing requests. I scheduled them for Saturday, knowing my parents would be at a charity golf event. I drove out early, ensuring every detail was perfect. The first few couples weren't quite right. Then Gabriel Jackson arrived, a successful businessman mid-40s, seeking a private retreat. The moment he walked in, I saw his genuine appreciation. This craftsmanship, he said, running his hand along the oak banister. You don't see work like this anymore. In the studio, he spent a long time. My late wife was a painter, he explained quietly. She always wanted a studio with north light like this. His respect for the house, for its history, touched me deeply. When he asked to sit on the porch, I agreed. This is a special property, Amanda, he said. I can tell it means a great deal to you. I hesitated, then found myself explaining, not the full drama, but enough for him to understand this was a difficult decision. My grandmother left it to me. I always thought I would keep it forever, but circumstances have changed. Gabriel nodded. If I were to make an offer, would it give you some peace to know that I would care for this place as you have? I wouldn't tear it down or subdivide the land. I just want somewhere quiet to read books and watch the seasons change. By the time he left, I knew he would make an offer. His agent called within 2 hours. Full asking price, quick closing, flexible occupancy. I accepted immediately. The next 2 weeks were a whirlwind of paperwork, inspections, and surreptitious packing. I told my family I was busy with a big listing. I avoided Sunday dinner, claiming client obligations. When my mother pressed about their open house, I deflected. I carefully removed sentimental items. Grandma's recipes, her quilt, irreplaceable family photos. My attorney ensured every document was impeccable. The property was unquestionably mine to sell. My parents had zero legal claim. The closing was on a Thursday. Gabriel and I met in person. As we signed, a complex mix of grief and fierce satisfaction washed over me. I have something for you, Gabriel said after the keys were handed over. He gave me a business card. This is my personal contact. If you ever want to visit, just call. You'll always be welcome. Unexpected tears filled my eyes. Thank you. That means more than you know. Walking to my car, cashier's check in hand for a sum that exceeded even my parents' most optimistic estimates, I felt a strange sense of both loss and liberation. I transferred the funds to a new, secret bank account. Now the hard part. Waiting for my family to discover what I'd done. For 2 weeks, I maintained the charade. I needed time. What I hadn't anticipated was how quickly and dramatically the confrontation would unfold. It happened on a Saturday morning. I was at my city apartment, enjoying a rare leisurely breakfast, when my phone rang. It was my father, his tone frantic. Amanda, thank God you answered. There's someone in your house. My heart skipped a beat. The moment of truth. What do you mean? I asked, playing for time. We drove out to the country house with Cassandra to take some measurements for the nursery furniture, he explained hurriedly. I used my key to get in, and there was a man inside who claimed we were trespassing. He said he was calling the police. The reality hit me all at once. My parents, Cassandra, breaking into my former house, encountering Gabriel, the rightful owner. Stay there, I said, my voice remarkably calm. I'll be right out. Hurry. This man is threatening to have us arrested. I drove faster than I should have. As I pulled up the gravel driveway, I saw a surreal tableau. A police car behind my parents' SUV. My mother looking shell-shocked on the porch steps. My father gesticulating wildly to a patient officer. Cassandra crying in their car, and Gabriel standing calmly. Amanda, my father called, relief flooding his voice. Tell this officer this is your house and we have permission. I walked slowly towards them, the weight of the moment pressing down. This was it. Actually, I said, my voice clear and steady, this is not my house anymore. I sold it 2 weeks ago to Mr. Jackson. He is the legal owner now. The silence was absolute. Even Cassandra's sobs ceased. My father's face went from relief to confusion to dawning horror in seconds. What are you talking about? My mother finally managed, rising from the steps. You can't have sold the house. We were going to sell it for Cassandra's apartment. The officer looked between us, understanding dawning. Ma'am, he addressed my mother. Are you saying you entered this property without the owner's permission? No, my father interjected. This is a family misunderstanding. Amanda, tell them this is all a mistake. I looked at Gabriel, who gave me a small nod of support. There's no mistake, I said firmly. I sold the house to Mr. Jackson 2 weeks ago. The sale has been recorded with the county. My parents and sister no longer have any right to access this property. That is impossible, my mother exclaimed. You can't have sold it without telling us. We had plans. Your plans, I corrected, not mine. You decided what would happen to my property without consulting me. You scheduled viewings without my permission. You kept a key without my knowledge. And today, you broke into a house that no longer belongs to me. My father's face had turned an alarming shade of red. You had no right. I had every right. I countered. The house was mine. Legally, morally. In every way that matters. The officer cleared his throat. Based on what I'm hearing, it sounds like these folks, he gestured to my parents, entered the property illegally, albeit under a misunderstanding. Mr. Jackson, do you want to press charges for trespassing? Gabriel shook his head. No, that won't be necessary. As long as they leave now and understand they cannot return without an invitation. My father looked like he might argue, but my mother tugged his arm. Let's go, Robert. Not here. Not like this. As they turned towards their car, Cassandra finally emerged, her face streaked with tears and twisted with fury. How could you do this to me? She screamed, storming towards me. To my baby. You knew we needed this house. You needed a place to live, I replied, keeping my voice level. Not specifically this house. Not my house. You are so selfish. You've always been jealous of me. And now you're taking it out on my innocent child. My father had to physically guide her back to the car as she continued to shout accusations. Through the open window, I could hear her sobbing that I had ruined everything and never cared about family. As they drove away, the officer tipped his hat. I'll file a report, but since there's no desire to press charges, this should be the end of it. Already done, Gabriel assured him about changing the locks. Thank you for your help. When the police car had gone, Gabriel and I stood awkwardly. I'm sorry about that, I said finally. I should have warned you. He shook his head. Family complications are rarely neat. Would you like to come in for coffee? It's still your porch too as far as I'm concerned. I looked at the house, the familiar lines now belonging to someone else. Thank you, but I should probably deal with the fallout from this. Rain check. Anytime, he said kindly. As I drove back to the city, my phone began buzzing incessantly with texts and calls. I turned it off. I needed space. The confrontation had been every bit as awful as I had feared. Yet, underneath the stress and guilt, was a surprising sense of relief. The truth was out. For better or worse, I had stood my ground. The weeks that followed, what my mother dramatically termed the betrayal, were some of the most difficult of my adult life. My family alternated between icy silence and explosive outbursts. My father sent a formal-looking letter demanding I turn over the proceeds, claiming they were family funds. My mother left tearful voicemails about how I had broken her heart. My sister blocked me everywhere and told mutual friends I had abandoned her in her time of need. Extended family got involved, hearing wildly varying stories. The narrative was that I, the selfish career woman, had callously disregarded my pregnant sister's needs out of spite and greed. Few seemed interested in hearing my side. There were moments I questioned my decision, wondering if I should have found some compromise. But then I'd remember the entitlement in their voices, my sister's casual assumption about my bedroom becoming her baby's nursery, and Grandma's letter, trusting the house to me because she knew I would honor its significance. About a month after the confrontation, I received an unexpected message from Tyler, Cassandra's boyfriend. "Can we meet for coffee? Just you and me. There are some things you should know." Wary but curious, I agreed. He looked tired, stressed. "Thanks for coming," he said. "Cassandra would kill me if she knew I was talking to you." Over the next hour, Tyler shared revelations that completely shifted my understanding. They weren't in dire financial straits. He had a stable IT job, good benefits. Their apartment, while small, was in a good neighborhood. "I never wanted your house," he admitted. I was shocked when Cassandra said that was the plan. I kept saying we could save for our own place, but she insisted her parents had promised they'd take care of everything. He'd also been deeply uncomfortable with how I was treated. The way they talked about you when you weren't around. Like you owed them this massive favor. Most surprisingly, he confessed he'd been saving for a down payment on a modest condo for over a year. I wanted it to be a surprise, but now I don't know if that's what Cassandra even wants. This prompted me to do some investigating. Using my real estate connections, I discovered my parents had refinanced their own home 6 months earlier, taking out considerable equity. They absolutely had the means to help Cassandra without involving my property. The pieces clicked into place. This had never been about Cassandra desperately needing housing. It had been about my parents wanting to appear generous without spending their own money. They'd seen my inheritance as an easy solution, a family resource to be redistributed as they saw fit. My friend Stephanie was unsurprised. "They've always treated you like the responsible one who should sacrifice for everyone else," she pointed out. "They probably never imagined you'd stand up to them." The rift deepened. Sunday dinners were a thing of the past. Holiday plans remained uncertain. My mother started telling family friends I was going through something and needed prayers. My father sent increasingly stern emails about my obligations and duty. Cassandra, now visibly pregnant, weaponized her condition, telling anyone who'd listen that I was so jealous of her baby that I had sabotaged her chance at a proper family home. The most painful aspect? How little interest any of them showed in my perspective. Not once did my parents acknowledge they should have consulted me. Not once did my sister express appreciation for my years of maintaining the house. My feelings, my autonomy, my legal rights were inconvenient obstacles, not valid considerations. Yet, as difficult as this period was, it was also strangely clarifying. For the first time, I was seeing my family dynamic with absolute clarity, unfiltered by the desire to keep peace at any cost. I was learning to set boundaries even when they brought conflict. I was discovering I could withstand disapproval without crumbling. In quiet moments, I sometimes thought of Grandma and wondered what she would make of all this. The more I reflected, the more I became convinced that her decision to leave the house specifically to me had been deliberate. Perhaps she had recognized tendencies in my parents that I had been too close to see. "Never let anyone take advantage of your kind heart," she had told me. "Not even family, especially family." Now, I understood exactly what she had meant. 6 months passed with minimal contact. I threw myself into work, set new sales records, and slowly adjusted to weekends without my countryside retreat. I maintained occasional text communication with Tyler, who provided updates on Cassandra's pregnancy. With a portion of the house sale money, I made sound investments and found a charming condo closer to the city, with a balcony large enough for container gardening. A poor substitute for the orchard, but better than nothing. Occasionally, Gabriel would text with a photo of the country house, a new flower blooming, or fresh snow. True to his word, he preserved its character. These messages were bittersweet, but ultimately comforting. My extended family began to reach out individually. My Aunt Deborah, my mother's sister, invited me to lunch and actually listened without judgment. My cousin Elizabeth included me in her wedding plans. Slowly, I was rebuilding connections on new terms, based on mutual respect rather than obligation. Then came the news. Cassandra had given birth to a healthy baby girl, Lily. The announcement came not from my sister or parents, but from Tyler, a simple text with a photo. "Thought you'd want to know you're an aunt." The tiny face in that image stirred something deep inside me. Whatever conflicts existed between the adults, They were not her fault. After careful consideration, I made a decision that felt right. I set up a college fund for Lily using a portion of the house sale proceeds, arranged through a trust so the money could only be used for education. I sent Tyler the documentation and a small gift for the baby. His reply was immediate and grateful. This means a lot. Cassandra may not say it now, but someday she will appreciate what you've done. Whether that was true remained to be seen, but I hadn't done it for appreciation. I had done it because it aligned with my values and honored Grandma's legacy of generosity. 2 weeks later, an unexpected call from my mother. Her voice sounded older, more subdued. "Tyler told us what you did for Lily," she said after an awkward greeting. "That was thoughtful of you." "She's my niece," I replied simply. "I want what's best for her." A long pause. "Your father and I have been doing some thinking," she finally continued. "Perhaps we didn't handle things as well as we could have with the house situation." It wasn't quite an apology, but from my mother, it was unprecedented. I remained silent. "We miss you at Sunday dinners," she added. "Maybe you could come this weekend. Meet Lily." The invitation hung, heavy with unspoken complications. "I would like to meet her," I said carefully. "But Mom, I need to know that you understand why I did what I did. I can't just pretend nothing happened." Another long pause. "I can't speak for your father or sister," she said finally. "But I have come to see that we should have respected that the house was yours. We should have asked, not assumed." It was a small acknowledgement, but significant. "Thank you for saying that," I replied, my voice softening. "It means a lot." That Sunday dinner was tense, but civil. My father was stiffly polite, making an effort. Cassandra was cold at first, but softened when she saw how naturally I held Lily. The baby was beautiful, a new life untainted by adult conflicts. The college fund was very generous, my father said, the first direct reference to the situation. "Cassandra tells me it will cover 4 years at a good school." I wanted to do something meaningful for Lily, I explained. Something that would make a difference in her future. "We've been thinking," my mother interjected carefully, "that perhaps we focus too much on the house itself rather than the bigger picture of family support. Your father and I have decided to help Tyler and Cassandra with a down payment on a condo they found, one they can afford the monthly payments on themselves." This was new information, a recent development. "That sounds like a good solution," I replied. "It is what we should have done from the beginning," my father admitted gruffly, the closest he would likely come to acknowledging his error. As the evening progressed, I found myself sharing a quiet moment with Cassandra on the porch, while she rocked Lily to sleep. "I was really angry at you," she said softly, not looking at me. "I felt like you chose a house over me and my baby." "That was never the choice," I replied. "I felt like my autonomy, my right to make decisions about my own property, was being completely disregarded. Like what I wanted didn't matter." She was silent for a moment. "I guess I never thought about it from your perspective. Mom and Dad always made it sound like the house was kind of a family asset. And since I needed it more than you. But that was never theirs to decide," I pointed out gently. "Just like I would never presume to make decisions about your life or property without consulting you." She nodded slowly, looking down at her sleeping daughter. "Motherhood is making me think differently about a lot of things," she mused. "About boundaries and respect. I want Lily to grow up knowing her opinions matter, that no one has the right to make decisions for her without her consent." "That sounds like excellent parenting," I said, genuinely impressed. "I can't promise Mom and Dad will ever fully understand what they did wrong," she continued. "They're pretty set in their ways. But I think I do now. And I'm sorry, Amanda. Not for wanting a good home for my baby, but for assuming I was entitled to yours." Her apology, far more direct than my mother's, brought unexpected tears to my eyes. "Thank you for saying that. It means more than you know." In the months that followed, our family began a slow, sometimes awkward healing process. Sunday dinners resumed, though now they often took place at my new condo or at Tyler and Cassandra's apartment. My parents never fully acknowledged the extent of their overstepping, but they made efforts to show respect for my boundaries in other ways. I maintained my friendship with Gabriel, occasionally accepting his invitation to visit the country house. It was different now, seeing it as a guest, but there was healing in that too. A reminder that letting go didn't have to mean losing everything. As Lily grew from newborn to infant to curious crawler, she became a bridge between previously fractured relationships. It was impossible to hold grudges while watching her discover the world with wide-eyed wonder. Through her, I found a new connection to my sister, a shared investment in the future that transcended past conflicts. My grandmother had been right all along. Family was important, vital even, but healthy family relationships required respect, boundaries, and the courage to stand firm when those boundaries were crossed. The house she had left me had ultimately taught me that lesson in unexpected ways. In the end, I didn't regret selling the country house. What I had gained, painful though the process had been, was something more valuable. The knowledge that I could stand up for myself, even against those I loved most, and emerge stronger on the other side. Family love, I had learned, should never require the sacrifice of your self-respect. True family support goes both ways, honoring each person's autonomy while offering genuine help. It took a crisis to teach us all that lesson, but some lessons are worth the difficult path to understanding. What about you? Have you ever had to make a difficult decision that put you at odds with family members? How did you handle it? Was there eventual healing or understanding? Tell me what you think. I really want to know. Please share your experiences in the comments below. And if you found value in my story, please like, subscribe, and share with others who might be struggling with family boundaries. Thank you for listening. Take care.